Tips for organising a successful public event using two-way radio. A critical consideration when organising an event is how to effectively manage your staff. While using mobile phones and shouting may be adequate at the pre-event setup stage, problems can occur during the event. One such problem is the noise levels that can be generated during the event. Live music events present a particular challenge as it can be hard to hear a mobile phone ring. It is also hard to hear what is being said by the caller. A handheld or hand portable, as they're also called, two-way radio can utilise accessories such as noise cancelling headsets. Another benefit of using two-way radio for management of events is speed. In an emergency situation such as an accident, two-way radio allows the emergency message to be sent straight away. By contrast, a mobile phone would require you to select the correct number, then dial and wait for an answer. In an emergency situation, time can make all the difference. So obviously the two-way radio even is a quicker solution. Once you have decided to use radio communications at your event, you have further considerations. What some people do at this point is Google it and then look for the cheapest price. Once a website has been selected to click on, the questions start. Are you sure whether a VHF or UHF system will work best? The answer is it could be one or the other, or both, or none. Let me explain. Generally, a VHF system will give better communication range in open country. As most events are outside, you may decide this is what you want and need. But wait, will you also be operating inside metal frame buildings or multi-storey buildings or forested areas? If this is the case, then a UHF based system might be for you. The best way is to have a company come out to you and properly assess and carry out radio test survey for the event on the event site before the event. So a site survey. This way, any black spots in coverage can be engineered out by making the correct equipment choices. In collaboration with your radio communications engineer, problems can be eliminated before the event. Sometimes, whether you choose VHF or UHF, neither provide acceptable radio coverage and range. This situation demands a radio engineering approach involving a device called a radio repeater. A radio repeater is a device that boosts the range of the radio signal. This is done by receiving and then retransmitting the radio signal. The repeater is connected to a high, usually mounted on the mast, aerial or antenna. Antenna and aerial, basically they are the same thing, just different names. So the repeater is connected to a high and usually mast mounted aerial or antenna via a low loss coaxial cable. Having an antenna mounted high on the mast helps with the radio communication range. This is because radio waves at VHF and UHF frequencies are normally what's known as line of sight. Therefore, height helps with range. Some of the discount two-way radio hire companies will hire your repeater with a couple clip-on antennas. This in theory can work, as one antenna receives the signal and the second antenna retransmits the signal. However, the repeater can become what's known as desensitized if the transmit and receive antennas are not far enough apart. From what I've seen on the discount radio hire websites selling this option, the antennas do not have enough length of coaxial cable to adequately space them apart. A desensitized repeater will give poorer performance. A cheap solution, therefore, will not give you maximum range. The proper way of using a repeater is to use only one single antenna on a suitably erected mast and in conjunction with a device called a duplexer. A duplexer allows one antenna to both receive and transmit at the same time. This clever device, the duplexer, provides better range and performance than the two antennas that you get with cheaper systems, higher systems, as less likely to suffer from the desensitization due to the antennas being too close, which is what I talked about before. You may also be given the option to choose between digital and analog systems. Okay. Please feel free to contact for more information on the differences between the two systems, but most systems these days are now digital, and the main standard you'll come across is actually called DMR. The second other standard is DPMR, but a bit like in the excuse me, in the olden days when we had video recorders of VHS and Betamax standards, the DMR standard seems to have won. So most systems will be digital these days. Finally, who needs to speak to who is a consideration. For example, car park attendants, first aid staff, or organisers and management. A range of sophisticated options and channels can be programmed into the radio equipment. This is something you can discuss with your radio communications company prior to the event, and a plan and strategy can be worked out so the right people communicate with the right people and messages don't go to the wrong people, if that makes any sense. There is also a new radio technology called POC. POC stands for Push to Talk over Cellular, and combines the instant communication, again as I said earlier, there's no numbers to dial, so just press a button, the instant communication of traditional to a radio with the wide area coverage of a mobile phone. POC uses the data service of the mobile phone network to transmit and receive voice communications. Whilst POC is great for many business cases, there are potentially some things to consider when using for an event. The main issue with using POC for large events, such as concerts, is mobile phone system overload. As POC uses the same cellular data network as all the audience in the, watching the concert, it can become overloaded. Imagine all those concert goers uploading photos and videos to social media sites at the same time that you're trying to use the same network to communicate via POC radio.